You gotta take shots. Just let Tasteless fucking give
Silent. Do
Tasteless
you want to
enough
get
rope
into
to
it,
hang
dude?
himself.
Fuck poking him with a stick. Silent just whacks him on the head with
I'll
it.
get into it, Silent. Think there is free will or no?
No. Machiavelli's the one with blue balls. You should engage Machiavelli on this.
Fuck. Okay, Machiavelli. So, what I'm against, I guess, is determinism. And there's this notion about, I think it is, I am inclined to believe in indeterminism.
Can you walk
Um,
me through that?
is the idea that, of course, everything, the part that everything has a cause, but the part that you couldn't get any other result out of, those interactions is false.
So what is the first cause?
Determinism is the idea that, or you can
Wait,
see,
you
for
cut off.
example, a set of,
Determinism?
yeah, you
Okay.
can see, for instance, a set of events that happened that led you to some, and you can analyze what caused, that thing to reach that destination, and you can analyze it. And in the case of determinism, they assume that that is the only destination that it could arrive because of all the past events. Okay, now indeterminism is the idea that just because something happened before, it doesn't necessarily mean that the cause that it provided was the only outcome to be reached. So therefore, for any set of events in the past, you could have had a lot of different results out of them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily from where you are now a set of circumstances determined it. So from that idea, that doesn't deny the fact that right now you are entitled, or you make your decisions based, of course, in reasons, provide different outcomes for those interactions that right now are occurring. So that's the idea.
Holy fuck, dude.
I'm
You
gonna,
lost me.
yeah, sure. Let me.
No, you lost me with like so much shit, dude. Like,
Hold on to
do you just
so
do you adhere to the turtles all the way down theory then? Because I really I don't know how you could hold this belief without believing in infinite regress.
Isis doesn't actually believe in libertarian free will, right?
No, 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 no. It's not the negation that everything has a cause, dude. The idea is, let me.
Yeah, you said everything has a cause, but what is the first cause? Was there a first cause, or is it just infinite regress?
Where's their first cause? Well, the start of the universe, no?
Okay, but what happened before that? You could just say the start of the universe, but what started the universe in your
We
worldview?
don't know. We don't know.
No, I know that. I'm saying in your worldview, I know that we don't know for sure, but everyone has their own theory.
Uh-huh.
So in your personal worldview,
So no one is denying what happened, dude. Is that I don't know why we just asked that.
yes, but scientists have come up with a lot of nifty theories on what was the original spark of the Big Bang or the original cause.
Is
Hold on,
that the
hold
core?
on.
Is that the core of the argument or the philosophy, dude?
I need
Is that
to
the
know
core?
that. Yes.
Let me just
No,
interject
is
just
that
for the
the
sake of
core?
clarity. Let me just interject for the sake of clarity. What's being disputed right now with regard to free will?
Oh,
yeah, this is irrelevant to the free will issue.
Yeah,
No,
like
I would like to know this before I get into the free will. This is why I want someone better suited to it, because I can't take him through the
There's no one
causality
better
without knowing
suited
that
than
first.
Tasteless. You'll
okay,
be okay.
okay. This is the argument from indeterminism. Okay,
Okay.
if X is necessary to cause Y, Y necessarily implies that X preceded. That is true. Okay. Now, the presence of X, however, does not imply that Y will occur. That means that
Schrodinger's
even
cat.
even if there was a cause to Y, we cannot imply that that was the only reason, or have gone differently.
Anybody
So
understand? I still don't understand.
It sounds like he's trying to use like that, like some bastardization of the Darth
But-
Dawkins gambler's fallacy. Let me flip a coin this many times.
Okay,
It sounds like
so let's agree
it
on
sounds
this.
like it.
Agree on this one. Okay, everything had a cost. Okay. I
Okay,
agree
that's
with
your
that.
axiom. All right, got me
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
Yep, totally agree. 100% agreement.
For determinists, they seem to think that you couldn't have gotten any other, that everything is predetermined, that our destiny, our future, our actions are predetermined. Set of interactions that are, you know, okay,
Yes.
determinism, okay. It's like saying, okay, now, if I were to regress to every single event that happened, it had a cause,
Yes.
okay, and it could not have gone another way, but the result that it got, and that is flawed. Flawed because we can see from this logical example, since any event had a cause, you were implying, or if you implied that no, you could not, it couldn't have gone differently from that, event resulting, that's flawed. What
Okay.
it says is that yes, everything had a cause. It's not about regression. It's about what you are doing right now.
How does that affect
Yeah,
the
I don't
free will
understand
argument?
how that-
Can you apply that to the free will argument, please?
Yeah, I don't know how that applies at all, dude. That
Here's
tie it all
the
together.
yeah, sure. Um, okay, here's the argument for determinism. Okay.
Stop, dude. Stop. You already walked me through this goddamn argument so many times. Just use.
Okay.
Tell me the free will argument.
The idea, dude, is that it's not predetermined. Your actions, you have the ability, a set of circumstances are in place. Yes.
So okay, wait. No.
You
Here,
can
this is good. This
choose
is good.
differently from the ones, the circumstances that are, causing you to lean
You have
in one
agency.
direction.
Okay, sure. Now, where do you think this agency comes from? Do you believe that it exists in your brain? Is this the main operator here? Or?
It doesn't matter where it comes from.
No, it does. It totally does.
Why? Why does it matter?
Because in your
Because we're trying to
examples
come
that
up with an explanation as to what it is.
yeah, like I want to know
No,
where
I
is this
want to
free
know
will
why does
coming
it
from?
matter to determine whether you can choose or not.
What? Am I
I want to
fucking
know.
taking crazy
Tasteless,
pills or
hold on.
something?
Let me see if we can get this conversation going.
No,
Tasteless,
hold
let's.
on. Just let it happen between those two.
No, I'm
Just
I'm
let
just
it
trying to funnel it. All right, I'm trying to funnel it. You're gonna have to show how the first cause stuff means that there is free will, that there isn't free will.
You're gonna get him back onto determinism, please. You're just gonna drag this out longer.
No. I want to know why. Why do you
Okay.
think that it is important to know if I'm conceding that everything has a cause? Okay?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, the important part here is predeterminism. What is determinism? The idea that you will reach a certain destination based on the circumstances, right? On the known circumstances. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's predeterminism. Not be able to choose differently from your current situation, your current predisposition. Okay, that it is already determined based on the idea that for every interaction you're going to get one single outcome. Okay, that's determinism.
No, that's incorrect.
Yes, but there are random
Follow
elements.
a set of you will follow a set of events that will unleash or will end on one result.
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
not
I told you.
determinism.
I told you, dude. And this we know because we see and we said, well, this had this cause and this cause and this prior
Dude.
cause and this prior cause, and we see that as something that we cannot escape.
That's not.
This
I
is the
really
element
wish
of
you hadn't
determinism.
butted in. The guy who butted in earlier, to try to speed this along, you just made this so much worse.
No,
Oh, man.
so you're gonna
So-
have to ask now that he's talking about this predeterminism thing. What in the world is predeterminism, and how is it in any way
Look.
going to be different than determinism?
Sure.
What I'm saying is that for determinism,
Just define predeterminism.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
just
look.
define
it is
predeterminism.
the idea that given a set of conditions, the result is already set.
This is
Going
predeterminism.
to get
So
a result no matter
predestination.
what.
This sounds
Yeah,
like
like predestination, like predeterminism.
Okay.
Since if you give a set of conditions, you will be guaranteed to get one result. That is predeterminism. Okay. Now, is that what I'm saying? We cannot assume and had causes. That was the only possibility it could have gone.
Since what? Can you repeat
No,
that?
it could have resulted. Now, why?
This is like the Tasteless is like the true empiricism of philosophy. He just
cut out for me too.
said-
If he's not cutting out for other
So the
people.
idea is that, dude, even if you are given a set of precondition, yes, you will still have the ability to choose differently.
And what
from
you
all-
need to look, I want to take this back. Like, please tell me what is the action that allows you to do this? What allows you to make these actions? Like in your body, like physically. No philosophical
Sure.
shit.
Okay, because we have different processes going on, and we cannot account for them. I mean, we're talking about information happening. We're talking about assessing that information. We're talking about outside events.
Do you believe in evolution?
Well, hold on, time out.
What was his
If you're
definition
talking-
for determinism?
If you're talking about like any type of scientific understanding of, I guess, the kind of free will that Tasteless is attempting to run, you're gonna either just like run into a wall in indeterminacy, like quantum indeterminacy, where everyone doesn't really, where none of us know shit about that stuff, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or you should just go back to talking about free will with respect to an agent.
I'm
You
gonna
will
become a
have to go back to
physicist
that.
just to debate. Like literally
Okay.
just to debate on this shit.
Machiavelli, the argument that beats all of what you're saying about biology and all these processes is on determinism. Okay.
Okay, hold on, real quick. Tasteless is not an advocate of libertarian free will. We've been over this. He said he was a compatibilist. That's what he said.
He said it sounded like he was at least in part arguing for the principle of alternate.
Wow, I really don't know how you've done it, but you've made me so incredibly tired, Tasteless. Like, you're an energy vampire.
I guess I am, dude. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
terrible energy
No, you know
vampire,
what?
terrible, terrible.
I have still, you know, this is not well polished for me to really communicate what I'm trying to say. So I guess it is hard as is. So I'm sorry, dude. Perhaps we can, you know, discuss it.
I mean, all it's
more clear.
I just want you to name, like, do you adhere to evolution, correct? Yes or no? Just don't give me like a long drawn out answer. Just yes or no. Do you adhere to evolution?
Evolution is
Yes,
a good
man.
radio
Okay.
answer to this.
Okay, no, I think it will. Where do you believe? Okay, so if we've been around for like 3 billion years and whatever, and all life is descended from this point to you to create you, and you're like the summations of all of those parts. Where do you think you gain your free will? Like you're a victim of your circumstance, correct? Like you've attributed like all of your forefathers and foremothers.
No, yes and no.
No?
Because we have an internal mechanism called
We're talking about like
consciousness.
instinct on an
And
instinctual
our
level.
consciousness can alter that shit, and that's where, you know, free will lies.
Okay. So you're saying you don't believe that there are some traits you just cannot change. Like if I really wished one day
Of course
to
not.
be like,
No, of
okay.
course not. We're not
okay,
robots, dude.
good.
We're
So
not robots nor animals.
now, what do you believe is the main cause of this? Because you were about to touch on this. Like, what is this this mechanism that activates free will in your body? In your body.
Consciousness.
He doesn't actually. He doesn't
Where is
actually know.
consciousness located?
is a feature, a property, or of our, our brain, of our neuronal.
Machiavelli.
Okay,
Machiavelli.
great. No, we're getting
Machiavelli.
somewhere. Stop. Don't cut me off. We're
It is
finally
not
getting
doesn't
somewhere.
dependent
know.
on it, nor it
Stop.
control. It's controlled by it.
God damn it, dude. This is the argument that you were walking me through before with the consciousness one, which is actually what made it click for me. So if you actually do want to take over and you want to continue down that Wolf Vanguard, please be my guest. Like, just take it down the consciousness one right now.
I mean, like, dude, okay, like, let me just help you out, right? The claim isn't interesting anymore. Like, he's saying that you asked him what was, like, the source of the free will, and he said consciousness. Like, what the fuck? That begs no shit. That begs the question. It doesn't give you, I guess there's no, like, information about, like,
Yeah.
what he means by free will.
You just
I
ask
don't
where's the
understand the
What do you
consciousness.
think
You just
causes,
ask where's the
causes free
consciousness.
will?
No,
Wolf
I don't
Vanguard.
understand the idea of like sourcing free will.
So what is consciousness then? Tasteless. Don't just
It's
say it's like a
irrelevant.
feeling. You
It's
just
a
said it begs the
property.
question.
Brain, dude. It's a property of what are neurological connections.
And now, if I were, so you, okay, so you know that they've done like tests to show that if you were to
Sounds like determinism to me.
If you were a test what?
if you were to do like tests, like I believe someone in this knows the test better than I do. So anyone here can help me out if I fuck it up a little bit.
I
Like,
read
people
about
to, like-
Jose Delgado that
Oh
made
my
these
God.
experiments on chimpanzees and people, and people reported that once they have been stimulated their brains in certain manners, they reacted in some ways, and they also tried to not rationalize that shit, saying that they were the ones deciding to move, right?
Yeah. Do earthworms have a consciousness, Tasteless?
Why are you laughing?
You should tell me, dude.
I'm
Because-
asking
He's
you.
asking
You're
you.
the one telling me that there's a consciousness and that you know and that you seem to have a knowledge where it is, and you said it's a property with having to do with like neurons and synapses. So can you tell me, do earthworms have this consciousness?
I think you
What
would be
does that
more
have to do with free
qualified
will?
to tell me if worms have
Uh,
consciousness. I
Oh,
think.
okay. Stop.
So
Stop.
you're
Hold
saying
on,
you
hold
don't
on.
know. He's dodging the question.
Exactly.
But
What the
like,
fuck?
I
dude?
mean,
No, guys,
What
guys,
does
stop.
that have to do with-
Worms have to do with neurons, dude.
Okay,
it
okay,
has
but
to
the
do
I
with
wanna-
free will, you
What
guys.
does consciousness?
The-
He's trying to
the
get to the point.
autism
Does
level,
consciousness
the-
only affect humans, or does it affect
Like,
other animals?
The autism level is going out of control, right? We're talking about free will. We need to stay on that topic, right?
Yeah, free will makes sense in the context of agency. So earthworm, until earthworm Jim becomes real, the idea of an earthworm as an agent doesn't really seem like a very productive discussion, right?
And the problem here is Tasteless hasn't given a good definition for free will. Like we had to freaking get it out of him, and we
Okay,
don't even
you
know
want
like
my
what's his
definition
position
of
on
free
it.
will? I am going to. I already told you, but I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell it again.
Okay, hold
It's
on.
the
No, I don't need it.
ability
I need you.
to choose differently from the preconditions of your environment. It is
Okay.
the ability, even if you have a given set of circumstances, you can choose to do differently.
Taste, can I ask you a question?
Not about
So
not
what
having
explains?
Taste,
having a cause. It's not about not having reasons, because you would have reasons.
Taste.
Everything in the universe.
Taste,
Has a
you've
cause.
made free will choices before, yeah? You've made free will choices in the past.
Well, not all. Some people. Let me explain this.
Can, can you give us just give us an example of a free will choice that you've made?
Sure, dude. Now, we people, we can make choices based on free will, or we can of course, also predetermine our, decisions. You can say to yourself, you know what, from now on, I only going to decide upon things that will be beneficial to me monetarily, for instance. Okay, that you can do, and you can oblige yourself to it. So in that sense, you will be preconditioned to your own set of standards that you set for yourself. Or I'm going to make decisions based on chance. I have two balls here, and if I ever have a fucking decision to make between A and B, I will take my rocks and I will choose at a chance, and I will follow that shit. You can do that, and you can also decide to be conscious and say, you know what, before I make
You
any
can
decision,
decide to be conscious.
I could always, of course, nature what my desires and my temptations are, and follow them. I can make that choice, but I also can make the choice of stopping and assessing the situation before I make a decision. And it doesn't matter the circumstance. It gives me the ability to, even if my tendency and my current situation is leading me towards
Hey,
one
dude,
direction,
dude,
I can always choose differently. So
my
that's the
God.
idea.
Can you stop
Having free
monologuing and
will.
let someone else speak? Thank you.
So basically, what he's
Having
trying
free
to say
will.
is, okay, basically, like the instance of free will he's trying to talk about is one in which the agent has freedom to act according to their own motivation, right? The motivation happens to be determined. All right, like that was basically all he was trying to say. Like he just said it in like this
That's
monologuist
the
sort of way.
problem. That's the problem, Wolf, because it seems to be determined means that you can only have one result out of interactions. But I wouldn't say that it is determined in that sense. Of course, you're
Determined? No,
going
no.
to have
You're
reasons,
Like,
but you're
conflating.
going
Hold
to
on. Time out.
willingly
Tasteless. Tasteless.
decide to
Time out.
trigger a set of.
Tasteless. Please. Tasteless. You're conflating two different concepts: predeterminism and determinism. Determinism isn't that there is going to be a specific, this is determined. This has to be the outcome. It's that you can predict the outcome. All right. That there could be a set of outcomes, and you can make predictions as to what outcome will actually, come to be. So there's your this fatalism that you kind of keep on invoking. It's it's not required.
So tell me then, Joe, what or why does determinism goes against free will?
Well, I'm not sure if it does because there are people who think that determinism can be compatible with free will.
Yeah, but I'm saying based on the general argument, why is determinism, against the idea of free will?
Well, usually there's a couple of things that people think are important to having, like free will in the libertarian sense. The ability to choose otherwise. It's called the principle of alternate possibilities. And I'll just say one other one. Ultimate responsibility. That is, you as the agent have ultimate responsibility over your actions. So people have taken that and tried to make sense of it with a deterministic framework. Because if determinism is true, is it the case that we could still choose otherwise, even though we're born in a certain way? And is it the case that we could say you don't have free will just because you don't have the ability to actually, like, um, what is it? It's just because you don't have the ability to actualize your choice, right? I mean, you have free will to choose otherwise, but it could be the case that your nature makes it so you're unable to
Well, like I
fulfill
said,
that.
of course, there are people who tend to follow that path and not exercise their will against their own nature. Whatever they feel that they just react. It would be something like a robot did, where you are giving a set of preconditions and the robot is going to react accordingly to the circumstance. But in our case, we have this internal mechanism that lies in consciousness that gives us the ability to run independent, that will give us reason that in the end could go against the preconditions set for us, a different outcome, even if the outside conditions are set for you to take one particular choice. So that's the idea, I think, in the usefulness of that philosophy, is that to let you know that you are always able to change your condition, even if it's, if you had a tough past, or if you are on a tough situation right now, or even if you are, so angry that you want to harm somebody,
Tasteless,
right,
you
and stop
said
and say, you know what, fuck it,
Tasteless.
this is not good.
Hold on, Tasteless. You
And this
said
is
that
due of
consciousness is the standard and the source for free will. Can you tell me where I can find consciousness?
the brain. But it doesn't mean that, since it is dependent, I mean, the consciousness depends on being a brain. It doesn't mean that the brain controls it, biologically speaking.
So
It is a
every organism with a
property.
brain has consciousness.
I am saying it is a feature of our, our nature as humans. Um, it is a property of our human brains. Now,
Oh, so it's
I'm not
only the
sure. I'm
human
not
brain.
sure whether, worms have consciousness or not. I think we can assume, for instance, in the case of animals, that animals doesn't have the conscious we do, because they tend to lean on their instincts, to act and react
Okay.
in the world. They are predictable as such, that they don't have, they have very few, for them to decide just other than their own nature. And that's why we as humans are different from them,
Can
because
you
we
show
are
me where
given this
inside the human
internal
brain
mechanism.
is this consciousness?
Silent. May you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, can you show me where inside the human brain is this consciousness?
No, I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. It is a
How do you
property.
know where it exists? How do you know that it exists if you can't find it?
Oh, I guess and then it doesn't, dude. It doesn't exist.
I never said it doesn't exist, right? I asked you how you know it exists.
No, no, no. I wouldn't know, dude. So
So how could it be your
what
standard
why
for
is
free
it
will if
important?
you don't know that it exists?
Fuck you. Oh, I'm wrecked. Shit, dude. You got me. There's no consciousness.
Sorry to interrupt, but I have a question about consciousness. Does consciousness require having a memory of the events that you experienced? Or can you just experience them and not remember them and still have consciousness?
I don't know. I think it would be something like the ability to perceive the outside world, and be aware of it. I don't think it has to do with memory, dude.
So in that case, something within the nervous system could have consciousness, like a worm. Sorry.
Part of
I don't
awareness
know,
would
dude.
be
I don't know. I
memory as
wouldn't know, dude.
well.
I'm not a scientist for that shit.
So
All I know is we can
you know
speak
that
about
humans
our
have
own
consciousness and
experience.
that worms don't. What's the difference?
Dude, you're too much.
Could you actually answer the question? I don't think I'm being dishonest with that question.
I don't think I can't or am willing to answer dumb questions, dude. I'm sorry.
Wait, how is that a dumb question?
Question. Tell me, why is it important?
It's important because we're trying to make a distinction that you've
I want
made.
to ask questions, dude.
We're trying to
Tell me, why
clarify
is it
that. Hold
important?
on,
The answer, why
Tasteless.
is it
You asked
important?
me a question. I'm gonna answer it unimpeded. Thank you. You said that there is a difference between this kind of human consciousness that comes from the human brain and like all other kinds of consciousness, and saying that that kind of consciousness is different. So we're trying to
Said that. I
understand.
never
Hold
said
on.
that other
Why?
people
What?
had,
Tasteless.
other
I'm gonna
animals
get
had
this out
consciousness.
unimpeded. Tasteless. I'm gonna get this out. Thank you. So and so you kind of implied that there is a difference, and we're trying to clarify and understand what the difference is. So therefore, when I asked you what the difference is, it's pretty obvious how it's relevant.
You seem to be either not understanding or not listening to my answers. I already told you, it seems that we are, the only ones with conscience, because as in the case of animals, they follow their instincts. They're not, they don't show that this consciousness as we to experience consciousness as we do, they tend to go with instinct, and that's what I said. I never
Oh,
claimed that consciousness or
sure. Okay,
having
good.
consciousness.
Okay, good. So where, so where does this special metaphysical free will derive from if the animals don't have it? If they're just determined by instinct and shit?
Humans are not animals, don't you know?
But I would just
Oh shit.
ask. I mean, Wolf, you could also go down the line of, don't humans have instinct?
Oh
I mean,
fuck.
humans, we have instincts, but we have consciousness, and that consciousness
It's just a claim,
to
not evidence for the claim.
allows us to go against our nature, or get against our instinct, and
You
that's
don't.
why we're different.
Wait. Whoa, hold on. This could really get tied down here, right here. This is where the nail in the coffin. Okay, so if you hold to
How do you know
this,
that?
you hold down this shit, dude. Like, how can you? At the end of the day, everything is just your basal instinct telling you to reproduce. Why do you have a job? Why do you have a job? Seriously, why do you have a job?
What are you saying, Machiavelli?
Why
Just
do
answer the
people go?
question.
Why do people go to work and make money?
Why do people? Because they have consciousness, dude.
No, that's not what I.
Because they
That's
have
not,
consciousness.
no, I get.
Of course, dude.
I
That's the
Classic.
fucking answer.
I
They have
guarantee you that like the family of five, with a single family of, or the single mother family of five is not going to work because she has consciousness. She's going to work.
Oh no.
No.
What Machiavelli's
Oh,
getting at is
that's
what
in
are
our instinct, dude?
what Machiavelli's
Oh,
getting
man,
at
I
is
didn't
what is the
know.
goal? What is the goal behind someone going to work?
I don't know. Why is it important?
Oh, it's, clearly in your worldview it's because of consciousness, but in my worldview it's because we need to make sure that our offspring can reproduce.
Shit.
And the whole reason that people try to get like these high paying jobs, like, oh, go to school, get a good job, like
Why is
make a lot
people
of money.
different, dude? Why is people different?
to a
Why do you have a job and some people don't?
because some people don't care and they rely on handouts,
Why
whereas
they don't
some
care?
people
Because they have consciousness, or they follow their instinct.
yeah, their instinct, which is
that would
everybody wants to
see.
fucking reproduce, and people who don't want to fucking reproduce have something have like
To me,
we're
that if
like
we
fucked
didn't
up
have
and
consciousness, we would have the same result for all of us.
Yeah, so here's the issue right behind this conversation
Tigers,
is
getting
that
jobs.
Tasteless is this is all one long non sequitur from Tasteless, right? He still hasn't provided us with the evidence for consciousness, but he's referring to consciousness as the
Dude,
cause
when
for people's
people like
actions.
you
So he would have to first
refute
provide.
or
He would
deny
have to first
something that
provide.
common
Why are you
sense.
over talking me, Tasteless? You would have to first provide
Are you saying we
evidence
don't have
for the
consciousness?
consciousness. He would first have
No,
to
are you
provide.
saying that there's no consciousness?
Can someone mute Tasteless so that I can talk
Please stop over
unimpeded?
talking each other.
Yeah, I was talking. Thank you. So, he would first have to provide evidence of this consciousness before making the claim that consciousness is the cause, right? Or we could ask the further question, what causes the consciousness? And if he can provide evidence of that, we could push the question back, right? But if he's going to make the claim that it's not just people's base instincts that we can see and observe in other animals, or if he's not going to make the claim that people do it for other goals such as reproduction, he's going to have to provide evidence of the standard that he's claiming towards.
Well, I'm sorry, Silent. Before I do that, I'm gonna have to ask you to show me evidence that you are actually speaking, and I'm gonna need a fucking research for
Nice
you
meme.
to actually demonstrate that you are actually speaking to me. Because if you cannot account for that, man, I cannot, give.
Yeah, that's just a non
particular-
sequitur to the conversation.
No, you
Sanet,
have to
you need
prove
to
that
let
you are
him
talking.
have his go.
You need to
I
prove
mean,
that you're talking. I mean, I'm sorry, man. If you cannot prove to me that you're talking, demonstrate it with actual evidence for that shit.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
different topic entirely, right?
I'm sorry, man.
Hold on.
You're doomed. You're doomed.
I'm generally confused because like I'm a little high right now, right? I'm confused. How the fuck did we get on a conversation from free will versus determinism to consciousness to
it's
suddenly?
not that hard to follow.
This-
But
Here,
hold on,
I'll-
Wolf. But hold on. So, like, look, let's explain why. See,
I would really love if I could finish my
I'll draw.
goddamn
Yeah.
I'll draw it.
question.
I'll draw it.
I would really
Really
love if
quick.
I could
I'll
finish my
do it in
goddamn
30
question.
seconds. I'll do it in 30 seconds.
Machiavelli, stop.
I was the
Machiavelli.
one
Me
who
like
started with
goddamn.
Molly. I was
No,
the one who was
enough.
original.
Mark, shut
Why
the
not?
fuck up for a second, Jesus.
I'm
Why enough?
confused.
My God, he's asking
How
for
the-
clarification.
Being fucking sarcastic, Jesus Christ.
yeah, hold
But
on. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Okay, now how the fuck do we get from free will versus determinism to consciousness to Tasteless's weird meta solipsistic freaking statement of silent needing to prove that he exists to him? It's fucking ridiculous. The notion right is that he thinks that there's some special consciousness that humans have, right? That makes it that we have contra causal free will. Now, if that's the case, he'd have to demonstrate how that like, or come up with some argument for how that is, and not try to justify some ridiculous substantive claim.
Yeah, so that's just a topic shift, right? What he's gonna ask of me is gonna be a complete topic shift so that he can try to take the pressure off, but he still has to provide evidence for his claim.
Okay. Oh, so are you guys going to still debate, or are you going to talk about what each other's going to do during the debate?
I'm waiting, right?
Okay.
Whose turn? Who's going last? Because Tasteless just went in his whole diatribe, and I would like to like clarify on why his solipsistic worldview is like fundamentally flawed. Because it seems to me like it's just a case of him just fucking spreading the butter here. With let's just see how many topics I could just fucking bring up without like tying it together.
No, not really. Show me how I'm wrong, dude. I am open to it.
I was trying to, and then you just kept going down these fucking rabbit holes and just dodging the question of okay,
Go on,
like,
dude.
what
Go on.
do dolphins have consciousness?
I didn't hear your question, dude.
I said, do dolphins have consciousness?
Consciousness. I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
Yes.
If in your worldview, like that should be the one go-to, like best case for consciousness.
Why, man? Okay, so basically you're
Because
saying
they
that
gang rape people.
my worldview. No, you're saying that I said in my worldview that everything, even objects, have consciousness or free will. Where did you
Only
get that
the
idea
intelligent
from?
gang
Why
rape.
are you asking me if fucking dolphins have free will?
Wait, rocks have free will?
consciousness?
Wait. Rocks have free will?
Okay.
No,
Are we
asking,
going to talk about what people have, or are you going to go on a tangent about dolphins, plants, and whatnot? It seems like you're diverting.
Molly, can you not be the relevance police, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I was tying it together here. The reason I brought it up is because the reason I brought tasteless. Hold on, let me finish. The reason I brought up the dolphin example was because there's a lot of similarities between both humans and dolphins. Like we both have languages. They have larger brains than us. They've been around for a lot longer. Can evolve. You know, they have different social groups. Like they interact in different social groups. They have different languages, for fuck's sake, dude. They have different hunting techniques that are totally different from other dolphins. It's
in that case,
it
I
seemed
would say that
like they seem to
yes.
clearly have a very developed like social hierarchy, and I mean, I just don't know how you can't say that they have free will, but you're sure okay with.
No. I would say dolphins have free will. Yes.
Okay, so if dolphins have free will, then where is like the free will stop? Like, there's got to be a point, right? Like,
would that be free
we're
will?
about...
Would that be just them adapting to their environment and their ways of communicating and hunting? Or
could I exercise the let's exercise the free action to abort this conversation?
Look, so whenever he says, right, so this is going to be a contradiction in what he said, Machiavelli, right? He said that dolphins have free will, but he doesn't know whether or not they have consciousness. But at the same time, humans have free will because they have consciousness. How does that make sense?
I am talking about humans, but we're talking about free will. And you continue to go to animals and worms and shit. That's just ridiculous. Silent. I don't know if this is just some lame attempt to find a contradiction based on something that I haven't said at all. Just because you're stupid to understand it.
Do I need to look? Okay, so I'll explain to the room once again why.
Silent. Let me ask you something. Do you really find any merit in continuing this?
No, hold on, Wolf. Let me just explain.
But I mean,
so
Silent
hold
very
on.
intellectually honest.
So
You would
so
never do
hold on.
anything like that.
Why are other people talking? Thank you. So let's just explain why it's relevant for this to be brought up, right? Because I don't know why we're playing the relevance police, but I'm just gonna go over why it's relevant for Machiavelli and I to ask these questions. Tasteless said that the foundation for free will was on consciousness, and that consciousness rested within brains. So now we're going to go through and determine what is like the line, the arbitrary line or the knowledge line, however Tasteless knows, right, of what beings have certain brains to an extent to which they have consciousness, which would give them free will. Now, Tasteless said that dolphins, he doesn't know whether or not dolphins have consciousness, but when Machiavelli asked him about free will, he knew for certain that these dolphins had free will, right? That doesn't make sense if that's the standard that he would be using, to be so certain that dolphins had free will, but be so uncertain as to whether or not they had consciousness, right? This is why we're bringing up, this is why it's relevant. So, Tasteless, are you going to answer the question or are you going to abort the conversation?
And what is that supposed to prove, Silent?
Silent, you're mistaken. No one's saying.
Since worms don't have consciousness, then we don't have free will.
Sorry, Wolf was talking.
Oh, fucking God. Silent, you're mistaken. You're mistaken what I said initially, right? I'm not saying that what you're doing isn't relevant to questioning Tasteless. I'm just saying, what do you see any merit in continuing the conversation with Tasteless?
I don't know. You don't have to continue the conversation. I'm enjoying shitting on Tasteless, so that's my value.
Damn,
So this is just you jacking off to like torturing Tasteless.
Well, look, if you don't want to continue the conversation, you don't have to, right?
I understand that. I'm saying
why
for the sake of the room,
is this so meta?
though.
This is disgusting.
Would you like
For the sake of the
to be
server.
moved to another room?
No, I mean, I'm pretty much done if Tasteless is willing to provide the standard, and then I'm done.
It's not about the standard. How you're trying to look
Okay,
at
Silent, you win. We're done. Silent, you win. We're done with this.
Hey, Tasteless, I want to talk to you in the trust tree.
Hey, Tasteless, just answer this.
Sure. Let's go.
And just answer this, Tasteless. Why does a person choose A over B?
Reasons to do so.
Because B is the second option.
Yeah, you're always gonna have reasons, right? And then you're gonna have a reason for that reason, or you have a reason for that reason.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So what's
And?
That was my bad. My bad.
Did Tom cut out?
Reasons and what?
No, just not answering. Is it a random? Is an element of randomness?
My boy,
That's
mute
what
your
you
mic,
don't get.
please.
Could you mute if you're not going to speak?
Tasteless is an idiot.
That is correct.